Hello everyone. So again, another sequence and convergence problem. Today we have a compact subset of Rn and a sequence inside A. Suppose we have an X such that every convergent subsequence of Xn converges to X. So I emphasized convergence here because it's not assumed that every subsequence converges, but that every convergent subsequence converges to X. Prove that indeed the full sequence also converges to X. So the solution will be simple proof by contradiction, but we have to be rigorous and careful in setting it up. So suppose that Xn doesn't converge. So if Xn did not converge to X, then, so here is the careful negation of convergence. So what is the negation of convergence to X? It would mean that then there exists some epsilon positive such that for every n that you try, there exists some little n bigger or equal to n such that xn minus x is bigger than or equal to epsilon. So I am making some abuse of notation with this little n. It's also a dimension of the Euclidean space, but it's insignificant. So it's some Euclidean space. It doesn't matter. So if to say that xn as a sequence does not converge to x would mean that for some epsilon, there is no cutoff after which the sequence becomes close to x uniformly. That means there is some problem epsilon such that no matter how hard you try, that's this every capital N that you picked, that means no matter how you try, there are still some little indices that do not satisfy closeness to x. So another way of actually coming up with this negation would be to actually write down the definition of convergence to x and then negate it using these logical quantifiers. So for every epsilon becomes there exists, and so on. But anyway, so from this we can pick, thus we can find a subsequence, say xnk, k1 to infinity, such that xn k minus x is bigger than or equal to epsilon for all k in n. Now here comes the assumption on compactness. So because x and k as a set is a subset of A and A is compact, after passing to a subsequence, which I do not write nkj, and I simply rename my sequence, my subsequence, to assume that we may assume there exists some y such that x and k converges to y as k goes to infinity. So I couldn't say this y per se equals x, because it just this compactness of A tells me there is some subsequence that converges somewhere. And so I have to pick some Y. So there is some Y where this X and K converges to. Now, on the one hand, we know that X and K is a convergent subsequence of, so on one hand, this X and K is a convergent subsequence of the original xn's. So, by assumptions, x and k must converge to x. So every subsequence that converges to x. So that's one thing. However, for every k, we know that x and k is never close to x. And this epsilon is actually positive, so that's a contradiction. So if you say this is 1 and this is 2, but 1 and 2 contradict each other. So all of this started by assuming that the sequence did not converge. Thus, xn does converge to x. And that's the end of the story. So if you like similar questions and you like the general presentation of stuff on my channel, please consider subscribing. That is the best help for now to help it grow. And see you in a future video soon.